All right, you guys. Well, today I have for you this 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Take you around this SUV. I really like the black accents on this particular model. Goes really well with like the black color. I always really love the styling of these SUVs. I just think they look so good. We'll check out the cargo area here real quick. All right. And as you can see, it's a pretty practical cargo area. Pretty good space. You know, I say this about SUVs sometimes. It's not like a minivan back here, but you do get a nice practical cargo area. You do get a nice big full-size spare tire back here. And you do get a power tailgate, which we will close. And these Grand Cherokees, the power tailgate is a little bit on the slow side, but it's not too bad. As you can see, pretty roomy. Plenty of space, not bad. A little bit small, but no issues in terms of legroom or anything like that. You do get rear vents and a rear household power outlet, which is a really nice amenity to have. You also get cup holders. This isn't one of the upper trims where it has like the big TV screens back here. So it is a little bit of a basic model, but you still get all the nice creature comforts that you'd really want in an SUV like this. But we'll hop out here. We'll show you guys under the hood real quick. All right. And this is the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6. It makes 293 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. As you can see, lots of space between the engine and the front of the car. Pretty interesting. But we'll close up the hood here and we'll hop in, start it up, show you guys some of the features. Press to start. Gauges do a cool little sweep right there. I did already show you a few of these Grand Cherokees, but I did just want to show you guys this one. This is just like a regular V6 model. It's not like the SRT or anything like that. You do get this really nice gauge screen. You can just cycle through various vehicle information like your tire pressures, four-wheel drive, MPG, that sort of thing. You can change the type of speedometer you want. You can just have the number or just the actual speedometer gauge, which I leave it on. You get cruise control, but no adaptive cruise control in this lower trim. You do get your turn signal and wiper stalk on the same stalk. You do got your headlight controls. You do get a slightly smaller center screen in this model, but it does pretty much all the same things that the bigger screen does. You can turn on your heated seats or heated steering wheel through the screen. I do wish it was a little easier to adjust your climate controls because they do give you some hard buttons for them. But if you want to change like where the air comes out and things like that, you have to go into climate, into here, and select it with these buttons. I kind of wish they just integrated it all into here, into these buttons, but that's kind of how it is in here. You do get 2 USB ports, an aux, and a 12-volt outlet. You do got your shifter for the 8-speed automatic, and you do get a backup camera. Pretty good. Screen can be a little bit bigger, like I said, but not bad at all. You do get your 4-wheel drive settings, so you have auto. You also have sand, you have snow, and you have mud and rock mode. So pretty interesting. But we'll put it back in auto right here. You also get 4-wheel drive low, which I don't know if you get this in other Grand Cherokees. So it's pretty nice off-road feature you get in here. You do get a center console, pretty tiny, not too bad. And you do get a glove box, pretty good size. But we will get this thing out on the road here and talk about how it drives. And I always really like driving these Grand Cherokees. They give you such a nice commanding view of the road. You feel like you're just towering over everybody when you drive this. Almost like a pickup truck or something. And it's pretty maneuverable, to my surprise. It's not like a sports car kind of handling, but it is like really smooth. It's quite peppy, actually. doesn't lurch you around or anything, but it does have a nice like spry kind of get up and go feel to it, which I really like. The pedals feel nice and intuitive stepping on these brakes. They're very predictable, you know. Pretty much always know exactly what the brake pedal is gonna do, how it's gonna respond. Has a normal bite point, a normal travel to it. Very kind of seamless stops in this. I also really like how responsive the accelerator is. Like, it has a good blend of like smoothness when you step on it, but it really is responsive. Like, it lets you easily access the engine power whenever you want it. And yeah, I do like this V6. It actually has pretty good performance. It doesn't throw your head back in the seat or anything, but it does take off nicely. Maybe we'll try demonstrate that here when I pull out onto this road. Yeah, as you can see, it takes off pretty good. I'm not even hitting it super hard. Has a nice growl to it. I like the sound of it. Has a really nice growl to this engine. The ride in here is a little bit choppy, I've noticed, but it's not like unbearable. You know, all it really is it doesn't exactly glide over bumps. You can feel some bumps now and then, but it's not super disruptive or anything. It's still a pretty comfortable SUV for the most part. I like this transmission. Like I said, it's very smooth shifting. There are times when this transmission does feel a bit slow to respond. Like if I'm like on the highway or something and want to like adjust my speed a little bit, this transmission, it does hesitate a little bit at times. So not totally flawless, but very good in just normal everyday driving. And you know, it does respond pretty good at times, so can't complain too much with that. Steering is very smooth, it's very predictable. It's not like a sports car steering where it just responds like immediately, but it is a nice smooth steering. I feel like I can always kind of tell where the car is going. I think the Grand Cherokee can feel a little bit high strung in some aspects. Like the engine can take off a little bit suddenly at times, I notice. And the choppy ride can kind of make things feel a little unrefined in here. But for the most part, it's an easy car to drive, an easy car to control. It's pretty fun to drive, actually. Not in like a sports car way, but in kind of like a cool, like off-roady SUV kind of way. It handles the turns decently well. It zips around pretty good. Like, it's actually a nice experience. There are some somewhat cheaper kind of cost-cutting aspects of this car. I personally could probably live with it, but this interior, it does rattle a little bit. Like I said, the ride is a bit choppy. Sometimes on the highway, when you're at like some slightly higher speeds, you can feel some vibrations in here. So not totally like luxurious feeling in that aspect, but still a nice SUV to drive. I really like the visibility you get out of this front windshield here. It's like a unique driving feel that you don't really get in other SUVs. These pillars are really thick, I will say that. But you do get big side mirrors and a clear back window to look out of. This car does take some getting used to, I will say, when you drive it for the first time. If you're coming from a smaller car, this feels really big. This feels like a big car. Takes up a good portion of the road. You feel much higher up, like I already said. And also it's just got like kind of a choppy feel to it a little bit at first. If you're coming from like a luxury sedan, like that just glides down the road, this doesn't quite have the same feel, but you get used to it. You know, you can get used to any car, and I pretty much adapted to this very quickly. So, yeah, once you get used to it, really good car to drive. Engine feels quite peppy once it like spools up, gets past like 2,000 RPM, then it has that sweet spot where it really takes off nicely. We'll try checking out our turning radius just to get away from these cars for a little bit, let the road clear up. I really like how smooth it turns, just something I'm noticing right now. Check out our turning radius right here, cut the wheel all the way. And yeah, very good. Easy to just spin it around on a dime. Nice off-road oriented turning radius, as you would expect. We'll try out some of these corners up here, see how it does. You know, it's really not bad, actually. Feels a little heavy, but nice and smooth around the corner, and like inspires a pretty decent level of confidence you wouldn't really expect. It's not the kind of car I'd like purposefully drive quick in, you know, it's not like I take it on the track or anything like that, but it actually is pretty good around corners. It's the kind of car, if you're in like a bit of a hurry, you can flick it around a little bit and it just kind of does it, no problem. We'll try like these other corners right here. Yeah, like I'm actually quite impressed. Feels unexpectedly nimble for a vehicle of this size. It's not to say it feels super flat and planted all the time, but it is pretty controllable and pretty connected. Road noise is fairly quiet, about average. It's not like library silent in here. But it is pretty quiet, I'll say, about average. You hear some road noise, but not like an uncomfortable amount. Alright, we're gonna take it on the highway here, see how it performs. I like that cornering. I kept up with that Ford Focus in front of me, like no problem. Nice smooth acceleration when you hit it. Pretty quiet too. Gets right up to highway speeds. I'm already at 70. A little bit louder on the highway, but not too bad. Tracks around these curves pretty well. I don't feel like it's totally unwieldy. I'll try taking this exit here actually and get back going the other way. Brakes feel nice and confidence inspiring when you're slowing down. Stops pretty quickly, as you can see. All right, get back on the highway here. Yeah, it gets up there pretty good. We'll try passing this car right here. Pretty responsive transmission. Do have to put your foot into it slightly, but not too bad. Like I said, there are times where it does feel a little unresponsive, but for the most part, it's pretty good. Pretty good, especially for an SUV. A lot of these are like super dulled back, heavily focused on fuel economy and stuff like that, but this one actually feels pretty spry and peppy. Really lets you get up and go when you want to. And it's got a very unique feel to it. I feel like I can just feel the road a lot more, like through the steering wheel and stuff. It communicates with you, unlike a lot of SUVs, which I really like. It doesn't just feel totally numb and isolated. You know, it's not like, you know, a Honda Pilot or something where it's just isolated from the road. This, you actually feel like you're doing something when you're driving. It might not be everybody's cup of tea. You know, some people really do just want like a nice, comfortable SUV where they don't have to think too much. And you know, yeah, like I said, it is a little cheaper in here. Like I'm hearing a rattle somewhere in here, but I really like this car. I can kind of see why these are so popular. You know, they're just a little bit different from your typical Honda Pilot, Toyota Highlander type of thing. You know, pretty fun to drive. A little hard to describe. Like it's fun to drive, but it's a big SUV. It doesn't drive like a small car, but I still really like it. It almost feels like you're driving like a classic Jeep a little bit, but it has a nice refined modern feel, like in conjunction with that. Alright, well, I think I'll end the video in here. Pretty sure I talked about everything with this Jeep Grand Cherokee. Always a treat getting to drive these. I must not be your typical car enthusiast, because I like driving this Grand Cherokee, even though it is a giant behemoth SUV. There's just something about it that's just, you know, fun to drive. But I think I'll back it into this spot right here. All right, perfect. Yeah, nice smooth SUV, a little bit rugged, a little bit rough around the edges, but not to like an insane degree. Still pretty smooth, comfortable, easy to drive, easy to just kind of maneuver it around. But yeah, at the same time, it's not boring. It's not, it still communicates with you really well. It's a nice experience. You feel very tall on the road. It is somewhat of a big car, has some quirks to it, has its little hiccups here and there, but you get used to it. And it's still a very cool car to drive in my opinion. But we will shut it off and we'll hop out. All right, thanks for watching.